What's up, cool people? Welcome to another game review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the first Assassin's Creed game, and I had to do a couple of things to get it sort of set up to a reasonable spot where I could actually do the review and not have, like, awkward scenes or credits or anything like that in the midst of everything else. So, this view right here is kind of the initial menu of what's called the Animus. So, it's actually a piece of technology that essentially is in the background, kind of the thing that's actually making any of the Assassin stuff happen in the Assassin's Creed games, but it doesn't really state that outright in some of them. Now, I don't know what the deal is with the, like, memory stuff. My Xbox has had, like, some slight issues with cloud saves and whatnot. But anywho, I am turning the blood off. That's part of why this game is rated M. But you have the option to turn it off, so that's a good thing. However, the other primary reason it is rated M, being strong language, you have no option to turn off. Because it's just part of the game's dialogue. Oh my gosh, okay. Having to get hit with that every time. So, I have completed the game, and this is sort of what you see after you've completed it. You get these different memory blocks that kind of go back to different parts of the game. Now, what I don't know is, like... So, like, say I pick one of these. Okay, so... Viewpoints, complete. Save citizens, not complete. So, okay. So, if you look at these different bits of memory, it breaks down different things that you can / are supposed to do in that specific segment of the game, like that particular time frame or whatever. But some of these things you can't necessarily do once you get past a certain point. So, like, if I get into the... If you get into any of the main assassination missions, you can't do the investigations that you're kind of supposed to do, at least some of, to get information. Tell you what, let me just go back to this one for the sake of whatever. Okay, I want to reload the memory, so if I go like that, memory, yes. Now it may also go back to the respective scenes from this part of the game, but this that I'm about to get into is the main gameplay that most people are, you know, familiar with and enjoy in the Assassin's Creed franchise. The actual being an assassin part. There's some dialogue here. I don't think I have the option to skip it, so that's maybe a minor issue. It's a convenience that I'm sure people would like to have, especially if they've already played through the game. Kind of like how, you know, the HD remakes, or at least the HD remake of Kingdom Hearts 1, introduced the ability to skip the cutscenes, which was real handy for cutscenes you had already been through but had to rewatch because you lost a boss battle or something, or just died in general. So here you see, you know, our main character, Altair, and his kind of mentor person who's like head of the Assassins Guild group or whatever in this area. So basically he sends you out on missions and you go and do them.
Another of your items is restored. Take it. See that it is put to good use. Return to me as each man falls, that we might better.
The story I think is fairly, like, it's a bit of a thinker, because you've got two different sides of a particular issue, or I don't know if you'd really call it two sides of an issue, but you got two competing forces. You got the Assassins and you got the what are they called? The Templars. And the Templars, you know, it's kind of obvious that they want control of things, but a lot of their operations go through sort of like puppets, like political puppets that they have scattered around. Maybe I should have gone with the last part. I don't know. Anywho,
perhaps you could show them what you know.
But getting into the training simulator here will at least help explain the combat. So, you can lock onto an enemy with the right trigger. I realize my webcam is covering up some of the buttons and such. But, okay, like, you've got attacks with X. You've got sort of a lead step you could do with A. You can grab enemies with B and kind of shove them. They can also shove you. You can guard by holding the right trigger. You can also, while you're holding the right trigger, if they try to grab you, you press B and break it. If they try to attack you while you're guarding, you can then press X with some decent timing and counterattack.
You must be busy. I understand. It takes time to draw another blade. Ensure your
Trying to remember how to run.
also your last.
Okay, right. Okay. If you're not in combat, right trigger is what you hold down to run. Now, if you look down at the bottom left here... Although I guess... Okay, sorry, just realized. Holding right trigger is kind of more of a jog. If you want a full-on sprint, you can also hold A while holding the right trigger. You also have a tackle that you can do, which I guess is sometimes helpful if you're trying to track down a particular target and, like, you know, pin them down. Yeah, there's a big thing in Assassin's Creed games, probably just in general. Different, like, haystacks and things like that. Basically, there are places all around where you can hide if you're being pursued. Potentially. Haystacks can also be an indicator of a place to jump down from a much higher perch, let's say. Oh yeah, and this right here, there's flags everywhere. So many flags to collect. Masyaf is probably like the least flag containing area in the game. Okay. So like you see what I just did there, there's like a... I'm blanking on what they call it, but basically you just dive from a really tall place into a pile of hay, and you're still okay, even though that sort of defies all real-world logic. Video games, you know? Now, I don't know for sure if I can get my weapons out while I'm here. You also see the sort of like mini-map thing that generally will help you see where you need to go. Major story points or mission locations are going to be sort of blinking on that mini-map compass thing. You also get to ride horses. At least in, like, the overworld area. Not so much within each individual location. Like, basically, the different towns and stuff within the game don't all really allow that once you get into the proper limits of the town. Now this doesn't come up right away, but eventually you get this whole, like, kind of, fast travel thing, where as you're leaving, at least as you're leaving Masyaf, possibly as you leave any of these places, you have the option to just go right to another town. Or you can go to the Kingdom map, which is the broader overworld map. Shows you
Remember to reach out for ledges should you
everything and lets you actually travel on foot or by horse to other areas. There's also other flags and collectibles and completionist stuff to do in the Kingdom map area. Pretty sure start just brings up the regular menu. I think if I press select, it'll take me to the map. Yeah. So that'll give you, you know, your towns that are... If they're blinking like that, that means there's, you know, a major assassination mission to do. You also have options in the map for, different things to do. That I rarely end up using because there's just so much stuff. But anyway. Now if you look at the top left, that is the basically your health. Technically it's called a synchronization meter because of the actual logistics of the game and how it works and what's going on outside the Animus. This is technically all within the Animus. That any of the, like, actual assassin stuff happens. But next to all those little bars, you might see different versions of the symbol like that. Kind of indicate, you know, danger nearby, or at least possible danger. Different levels of it, and things like that. At some point, I'm wondering if I should intentionally get myself into a fight. Alright, let me get off the horse here. Alright. So yeah. This kind of stuff is why I turned off the blood. Because these guys would definitely be bleeding from me fighting like this. But yeah, blocking is your best friend. Actually, more specifically, counterattacking, I'd say, is your best friend in this game. Oh, come on. Not my fault he didn't turn around at the right time. However, if you're not facing the right way, in larger groups like this, you can still get hit quite a bit. Despite the relative strength of the counterattack. Also, there's a slight chance that the enemies can, like, break your guard. That's literally the most annoying thing they can do, in my opinion, because how are you supposed to prepare for that? No, let go of me. You technically also have other options for combat. Other, like, weapons and tools and things like that that you can use. So, like, if you look at the bottom left, you've got kind of throwing knives you can use if you press up. To the right, I think, is just the long sword. You can change to fists if you so choose. Okay, no. Left is the throwing knives. Up is the hidden blade, which is very helpful for, like, actual stealthy assassinations. But, yeah, I will say combat is decent. I'm not gonna say it's, like, super polished. But it flows pretty well. For the most part, if you press the buttons how and when you're supposed to, it'll work the way that you want it to. There is also, at times, though, elements of, like, stealth and wanting not to draw attention to yourself. So, like, in this kind of situation, I've got these guys passing by me. If I were going at the normal pace, riding my horse, that might have gotten me into trouble. But if I pass by slowly, then they decide not to attack. And there's a whole lot of other things that you could potentially do. There's kind of like sub-missions or sub-quests, whatever you want to call it, in each location. Some of which might involve climbing up very tall places, like those. Get certain viewpoints that will actually reveal certain parts of the map in a given town, or even in the overworld here. And let's see here. Now, where am I going? Honestly, I didn't even have an idea in mind of, like, going to a specific place. I probably should have, though. Because there are what they call investigations and such. That's basically your, like, information gathering phase. Okay, see, so now that I've been spotted, if I can get away from other people for long enough... Ooh, hello, flag. Ow. Okay, fine. If you can get away from other people for long enough, you'll see the thing that's currently flashing red. Your initial getaway, that turns yellow, so it's like people are still looking for you. But it also lets you know that, hey, if you want, you have the option to hide somewhere. Now, of course, if you kill your pursuers, sometimes it'll just go straight back to the white symbol there, which means, okay, you're good. But, like, while it's yellow, you have the option of, like, finding a hay stack or something like that. And, then I think it'll turn either green or blue while you're hiding. And then once it's totally done, then, like, once it's ready to turn back to white, like you've hidden for long enough, then it'll change back. Well, it'll show the other color out of blue or green first. I forget which one is which. It'll show the other color, signifying that, hey, you can leave now, you're safe. People aren't, like, hunting you down actively right now. So, that's where some of the, like, some of the stealth, using the haystacks, other things like that, you know, the things that are more assassin-like, where you're trying not to cause too much of a stir, come into play. Really? Really, dudes? What did I do? Okay. Well, I am on a horse. I'm going to run away from them. Or gallop away from them, to be more accurate. Am I still... I'm not quite at Damascus yet, but I'm close. See, now if I found a haystack at this point, I'd be able to do the thing I was just talking about. But anywho, overall, pretty solid experience. Some of the controls can feel a little bit, just a little bit off. Hello? I think the game just crashed. Well, there's another point against the game a little bit. At least this particular version of it. Okay, well, guess I'll have to finish my review with a slightly different screen here for y'all. So, on the whole, Assassin's Creed is a fairly solid experience. And this is the first game, so, like, a slight lack of polish is sort of expected. That doesn't mean it's okay, but it's sort of expected. Obviously, not a family-friendly game. There's blood unless you turn it off, and there's strong language, which you cannot turn off. So, yeah, not great. But, it's not great in that way, I mean. It is rated M for a couple of reasons. But, otherwise, the game experience as a whole, fairly solid. Out of 10, I'd have to give it at least a 7, maybe more like an 8. Issues really come down more so to, like, sometimes the controls feel a little bit like it's expecting a high level of precision when, like, the engine itself isn't super precise, or maybe it's the other way around, I don't know. But it's like sometimes I want to do a thing, and just because I'm a little bit off, I get punished for it. But there's plenty of stuff to do in the game, plenty of collectibles, and within each primary, like, assassination mission, there's also the, like, gathering intelligence stuff that you're supposed to do as part of that, although some of those can get really absurdly difficult. But generally, you don't have to do all of them to progress the game, so in that way, it can be pretty hard, but it also doesn't have to be. So that's it's a fair balance, I would say, difficulty-wise, when it comes to that sort of thing. So yeah, I would definitely, I guess, on the whole, lean more towards an 8 for it. It's a solid experience, like I said. The issues really come down more so to some slight lack of polish with the controls and how that affects your movement in the combat. But anyway, so that's the first Assassin's Creed game and my thoughts on it. Feel free to let me know what you think. But otherwise, that's going to do it for this one. Hope you're all doing well. Hopefully I'll see you soon. But whatever the case is, till next time, stay cool, everybody.